The 1960s were a golden era for muscle cars, a time when American automakers were locked in a horsepower war, each trying to outdo the other with the fastest, most powerful machines. These cars weren't just about raw speed, they were a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and the American dream. In this video, we're counting down the 10 fastest muscle cars from the 1960s over the quarter mile, the true test of a car's performance. Buckle up as we take a trip down memory lane and experience the thrill of these legendary machines. During the 1960s, pretty much every American automaker was locked in a battle to offer the most high-performance muscle cars money could buy. The main arena where these tussles were fought was on the quarter-mile drag strip, or the emptiest stretch of public road that could be found. Succeeding in drag racing became big money, so muscle cars evolved to become as fast as possible in a straight line. Some truly beastly vehicles resulted from this need for speed, so here are the 10 fastest muscle cars to complete the quarter mile during the 1960s. Number 10. 1968 Shelby GT500 KR, 13.9 seconds. First up on the list is the ultra-rare 1968 Shelby Ford Mustang GT500 KR, of which just 1,571 were produced that year, according to Barrett Jackson. The KR's, which stands for King of the Road, the centerpiece was its 428 CI Super Cobra V8 engine, which afforded it a 335 horsepower and 440 pounds-feet of torque. It had enhancements like staggered rear stalks to prevent wheel hop on hard launches, while it also had suspension bracing to give the car a more stable platform. These tweaks helped the GT500 KR to run a quarter mile in 13.9 seconds, a thoroughly respectable effort, but only enough to leave it in 10th in this ranking. Number 9. 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge, 13.9 seconds. The 1969 GTO Judge was Pontiac's halo muscle car of the time, with the most powerful variant being the revered 400 CI Ram Air 4 V8. This engine made a meaty 370 horsepower and 445 pounds-feet of torque, while a 3-speed hydraulic transmission allowed the driver to focus on getting the car off the line effectively. This job was made easier courtesy of a SAF-T track rear differential. The engine took up so much room under the hood that air conditioning wasn't available, giving its driver the full sweaty racing experience. Number 8. 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS, 13.8 seconds. While the 1969 Chevy Camaro Z28's 302 CI V8 may have lacked the outright size to match some of its fellow muscle car offerings of the time, it didn't lack much in terms of grunt. It made 350 horsepower, while the SCCA-derived engine was also light. The limited slip differential and stiffened-up suspension setup made it ideal for launching off a standing start, allowing it to record a strong 13.8-second quarter-mile sprint. This puts it level with cars that had more power at the time, though its relative lack of firepower leaves it towards the start of this list. Number 7. 1969 Plymouth Cuda 440, 13.8 seconds. It's difficult to complete a quarter-mile run in anything less than 14 seconds when a vehicle has a huge 440 CI V8, and the 1969 Plymouth Hemi Cuda 440 didn't disappoint. The 375 horsepower weapon could stop the clock at 13.8 seconds back in the day, making it one of the fastest Plymouths ever. The mighty engine was installed by Hurst, with only 358 examples of the beast ever being made. A 4-speed automatic transmission transmitted the power on the road, while a trick-limited slip differential ensured the power of the massive power plant could be utilized. Number 6. 1968 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat, 13.8 seconds. While the 1969 Pontiac GTO was already pretty potent, brand tuner Royal Pontiac felt it had more potential. Slotting a larger 428 CI V8 under the hood, Royal also modified the front and rear suspension of the GTO to allow it to launch even more effectively. Also, featuring a 4-speed manual transmission, the GTO Royal Bobcat could thunder down a quarter-mile stretch in 13.8 seconds. Keen to keep it street-ready, Royal left the standard vinyl and wood interior untouched, making it a comfortable racer. Number 5. 1969 Hurst Oldsmobile 442, 13.7 seconds. Feeling the 1969 Olds 442 was capable of greater things, renowned gearbox designer Hurst decided to upgrade it. Utilizing the brand's largest engine, the gargantuan 455 Ci V8, the Hurst 442 put 390 horsepower and a blazing 500 pounds-feet of torque on the road. This was matted to one of Hurst's 4-speed transmissions and a 3.23 rear end that housed a limited slip differential. All these refinements allowed the 442 to clear the quarter-mile in 13.7 seconds, while its iconic white and gold livery made it arguably one of the prettiest muscle cars to emerge from the 60s, as well as one of the fastest. Number 4. 1969 Dodge Charger RT Hemi, 13.5 seconds. The 1969 Dodge Charger RT was available with the legendary 426 Ci Hemi V8 masterpiece, which graced the Charger's iconic body with 425 horsepower and a tire-shredding 490 pounds-feet of torque. Beefed up suspension and a new rear end, which included a Dana 60 setup and a limited slip differential, helped turn it into a drag beast. It could cover a quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds, making it one of the very quickest muscle cars of the 1960s. Number 3. 19.69 Plymouth GTX 440, 13.5 seconds. Next up is the mighty Plymouth GTX that features the same legendary 426 Ci Hemi V8 as its Charger cousin, which again produces 425 horsepower. The power from the dual 4-barrel carburetor power plant had to be translated to the road somehow, so the GTX was fitted with specialist suspension components reserved specifically for models with the Hemi. Combined with a much-needed limited slip differential, the GTX Hemi could complete a quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds. The GTX gets ranked higher than the Charger due to being worth slightly more in 2024, the former worth $217,000 and the latter $212,000, as per Hagerty's valuation tool. Number 2. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, 13.2 seconds. The 1969 Camaro ZL1 was a special breed. Its all-aluminum 427 Ci ZL1 V8, which was developed in the Can-Am Racing Series, made 430 horsepower and 450 pounds-feet. Due to its aluminum construction, the Camaro ZL1 only weighed about the same as an iron small-block engine. The reduced weight, plus the addition of stickier tires, a limited slip differential, and heavy-duty suspension, meant the Camaro ZL1 was pretty handy on the drag strip. It clears the quarter mile in a rapid 13.2 seconds, putting it well clear of most other muscle car challengers of the time, though not quite all. Number 1. 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner A12, 13.0 seconds. Taking the prize for the fastest 1960s muscle car to complete the quarter mile is the ultra-valuable 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner A12. Coming fully loaded with a tweaked 440 Ci 6-pack engine, which was given components like the chrome intake, flat-face hydraulic tappets, and valve springs from the 426 Hemi, it made 390 horsepower. The A12's modifications didn't end there. It also got a 4.10-to-1 rear axle with a limited slip differential, uprated suspension, and wide 15-inch Goodyear tires to help give it maximum traction. The upgrades clearly worked, as the Roadrunner A12 was able to throw down quarter-mile times of 13.0 seconds. This commanding pace leaves it as the fastest muscle car to clear the quarter mile in the 1960s. As long as you can bring yourself to rev the life out of the very expensive V8. These muscle cars defined an era, showcasing the raw power and engineering prowess of American automakers in the 1960s. Each of these machines not only ruled the drag strip, but also captured the hearts of car enthusiasts everywhere. Whether you're a gearhead or just a fan of classic cars, the legacy of these quarter-mile kings lives on. Which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below.